recorder. Okay, we said that the central idea crystallizes late in the process because after you get all of your data together of what you're going to talk about in your main points, you probably will find that you're not going to use all of that information. And once you have all that information, now you can go back to that central idea and really tune in to exactly what it is you are going to say during the speech. That moves us to main points. Okay. Main points. Main points are basically statements expressing a specific idea or theme to the specific topic. Okay. Main points. Now, when you are strategically developing this speech, as we said before, we start with the body. The body, not the introduction. We start with the body. Okay, the body is the longest and most important part of your speech. Now, you want to make certain when you are working with these main points that you keep them separate. Keep the main points separate. They can only have one idea, just as in your central idea. Okay, your main points can only talk about one idea at a time. So you're going to keep those separate. You're going to use the same pattern of wording. Okay, for example, say you're giving a speech about exercise, importance of exercise. You might say regular exercise increases your lifespan. Main point number one. Main point number two, regular exercise improves your overall health. Main point number three, regular exercise helps control your weight. Okay, that's keeping and using the same pattern of wording, as opposed to saying it differently, something like this. Regular exercise increases your lifespan. Sleep patterns improve regular exercise. And maybe third point, it's impossible to help control your weight with exercise alone. See the difference? Now, every speech can't be neat and tidy like that, where you can use the same pattern of wording, but where you can, please do. Again, this is a strategic method that is designed to keep your audience understanding and knowing, okay, she's going to a main point. Oh, that's another main point. Oh, that's another main point. You're guiding your audience through your speech. As I said before, and I'm sure I'm going to say it a lot more during the semester, a speech is more than just a story. You can have a story or a narrative contained within your speech, but a speech is not a story alone. It has strategic organization as well as delivery. We want to be mindful that because we only remember maybe about 50% of what we hear after 10 minutes, okay? After 24 hours, it goes down to 10. So it's very important that you do organize your speech in a manner that your audience can not only follow you, but remember what it is you are speaking about. So you will see a lot of duplication of effort, words repeated throughout a speech, ideas repeated throughout the speech. Okay, and the third thing you want to do with these tips I'm giving you for main points, is you want to balance the amount of time that you devote to your main point. So if you spent 2 minutes on main point number 1, you should spend 2 minutes on main point number 2, and you should spend 2 minutes on main point number 3. Now, of course, you might not be that precise, but you don't want to spend 1 minute on main point number 2, on number 1, and then 5 minutes on main point number 2, and then 30 seconds on main point number 3. Okay. It sends the wrong message to your audience that they are not equally important. So you want to make certain that you try to balance the amount of time that you are using in those main points. Now, once we get those main points down, we need to be able to connect the dots, right? Connect the dots. That's where we come in with something called connectives. Connectives. Okay, connectives help move us from one point to another. Okay, from one part of the speech to another. They can be put anywhere in the speech where you feel as though you need that extra push to be able to get the audience to transition into what it is you want to say. Now, I use the word transition, and transition is the first type of connective we're going to talk about. There's 4 that we generally use. Transition is the first one. Okay. They indicate when a speaker is what a speaker has just completed, as well as what they're moving on to. That's a transition. Okay. It indicates when a speaker has just completed a thought and is now moving on to another thought. Now, transitions can also be used in conjunction with other connectives. All right. So a straight transition might be something like, now that you have a clear understanding of the problem, let me share the solution. Okay, what we just talked about, and now what we're getting ready to talk about. But as I said, they can be used in conjunction with other connectives. Okay, so the next type of connective is an internal preview. Okay, it expresses what we're getting ready to talk about. So if you added an internal preview to your transition, it might sound something like this. Now that you have a clear understanding of the problem, let me share the solution with you. This is one way of doing something. Here is another. I will focus on 3. Okay, I will focus on 3. That's your internal preview part. All right. The internal preview works just like the preview statement in a speech introduction, except that it comes in the body of the speech. And like I said, it's often in conjunction with a transition. And you're going to use it when you think it's going to help the listener to track your ideas. If you have lots of main points, and I don't think I told you this earlier, but a good number for main points is 2 minimum, 5 maximum, right? So when you hear us talking about them, we talk a lot about 3, right? Because that's kind of right in the middle. But it may be that these steps that you're talking about, or these main points that you're speaking about, need a little more guidance. You don't want them to get lost, especially when you have a lot of main points. So these transitions, internal previews, and then the third type is an internal summary. What do you think an internal summary is? Internal summary. If an internal preview talks about what we're getting ready to talk about, what do you think is the internal summary?
Tells the audience what you just told them.
Yes, what you already talked about. Okay. Summarizes the speaker's preceding point or points. It reminds the listeners of what they've just heard. Okay. Usually, again, it's used when a speaker finishes a complicated or particularly important main point or set of main points. Okay. It's an excellent way of clarifying and reinforcing your ideas. Okay. And again, they can also be used in combination with transitions. And then the fourth type of connective is what we call signposts. And these are just brief statements that indicate exactly where you are in the speech, right? And frequently they're just numbers, okay? Or you might say first, second, third, next, last. Okay? Telling the audience exactly where you are in the speech. And then the last thing that I wanted to tell you is when you're organizing these ideas, you have to also organize that supporting material as well, right? The supporting material should be directly related to the main points that they are supporting, that they are supposed to support, all right? And it's, major kinds of supporting material. You can have examples, statistics, and testimony, narratives, all supporting material. And in 2 weeks, we're going to have our library discussion about how you go about gathering information, credible information. And when we talk about credible information, that means we're not going to talk about or deliver anything that we got from Wikipedia. Okay? You're not simply going to try to Google something and you're writing that down. You're going to use the school's databases. You're going to use periodicals, okay, articles and newspapers, things that have been fact checked. Okay? In the age of alternative facts, you are being reminded that that is no way to carry out a persuasive or informative argument. You need facts, okay? Truth, truth to back up the claims that you make. It's very important. And we're going to learn how to do that. Okay, any questions about main points, connectives, or supporting material? That leads us into outlines that you have tried to work with. Now, I did tell you, and I'm going to share this with you again. Good. It is speech. Can everybody see the screen I'm on now? Week 3, October 15th. Okay, good. Okay. There's something in week 3 called speech preparation outline template. Every outline from now on that you submit is going to follow this format. Okay. Today, I only asked you to do the introduction portion. And in this outline, it actually tells you what is being asked of you in the attention getter. So make sure that you print that out and you keep that with you throughout the rest of the semester. This is a very important document. Your outlines need to look like this. Okay, your preparation outlines. The working outline is a little different, but the preparation outline looks like this. Now, the reason why you do, I think I did tell you this, that working outline, is to get you started. And you're only putting in some brief ideas. Now, with the first speech, I noticed that a lot of students did exactly what I told you not to do. With only a couple of students who actually did what I told you to do. You are not expected to go into a student sample outline and just substitute your person's name in there for what's inside of the outline. Your outline should be specific to your ideas. So if describing who is Molly is not really part of your speech, that doesn't mean now, oh, I need to go to a speech and I need to do it just exactly like this outline because this is what somebody, because it doesn't fit. Okay? So it's there for format more so than content. You have to develop the content. You have to decide what you're going to talk about in your speech. Any speech that has any student example that I provide for you, you cannot say it again. You cannot use that topic for your speech. Okay? Because I'm not interested in you substituting words, your names, into somebody else's created work. Okay? So be mindful of that going forward. So if you've already started with that impressive person, writing down exactly what was in the outline, go back and put your own ideas there. Okay? You do not have to describe who is Molly in main point number 1. That is not a requirement for this speech. You could talk about who is Molly in your introduction. Okay? You don't have to do it just like that. Any questions so far about outlines? Your preparation outline is a detailed outline developed during the speech presentation that includes the title. Okay, we don't worry about titles so much in this class, but if you do create a title, that would also be in your speech outline. The specific purpose. The general purpose by default, because you can't write a specific purpose without the general purpose, right? Because the specific purpose starts with the general purpose: to inform, to persuade, to entertain in some manner. All right? It should include your central idea, your introduction, your main points, your sub points, your sub points, your sub points. And yes, you are required to go down to the sub point, particularly in your informative and persuasive speeches. So I don't want to see just the main point and then one sentence describing the main point. All right, we want some real content here. All right, connectives, the conclusion, and your bibliography. Yes, bibliography, not works cited. The difference between the two: the bibliography gives us the history of everything that you used to develop that speech. So even if you don't cite something from that material, you do include it in the bibliography so we can see where you got all this information you're telling us about. Okay. The works cited page only lists what you cite during the speech. Okay, that's the difference. So I've been teaching since 1991. Okay. And I have never had a class where students just continuously give me the heading works cited. For some reason, it just doesn't connect. No matter how much I tell you don't do it, students still do it. I'm hoping that this class will prove me wrong. I know it won't. Bibliography is what is required in your preparation outlines and for this class. Now, what are the guidelines for our preparation outline? Okay. You're going to state that specific purpose. Right? It should be a separate unit that comes before the text of the outline itself, the way you see it here. Okay, where it says topic, and you list what it is. Specific purpose, you list what it is. Central idea written, central idea spoken. This is outside of what we call the system of symbolization. The system of symbolization. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. Okay. Next, you're going to identify the central idea. Okay. So in this class, you're going to see it outside of the system of the symbolization as you see it here on the screen, as well as in the system of symbolization in your outline. Okay. And it looks, remember, this is it. I had put it up before. Okay. All right. Next, you're going to label the parts of your speech. You're either going to put introduction, body, and conclusion in the middle of the page or all the way to the left. right if I use it this way, okay, near the margin, all the way here or either in the middle here. But whatever you do, don't interchange it. So don't put introduction in the center and then put body over to the right of the margin. You don't want to do that. Okay. Stay consistent with labeling the parts of your speech. Then you're going to use a consistent pattern of symbolization and indentation. Now, here's where I want you to put on your listening caps, okay? Because this is very important. And a lot of students get this mixed up and they don't understand, why do I have these Roman numerals? Why do I have these capital letters, small letters, numbers? What do they mean? Okay. Main points are identified by Roman numerals. Main points are identified by Roman numerals. Roman numerals. Can everybody see I switched to the impressive person outline? Everybody see it? No? Okay. All right. So you can see here, introduction, I have it all in the middle. Body, see it in the middle? Conclusion. So main points have Roman numerals. What does that mean? That means from now on, when you are developing your speech outline, you will not write the word main point. Okay? I don't want to see that. Instead, it's going to, the words main point, those words will be substituted with a Roman numeral 1, a Roman numeral 2, a Roman numeral 3, 4, or 5. You can't have more than 5. If you're doing steps and it has a lot of steps, you're going to have to figure out, how do I merge those together? All right. The most important main points are farthest to the left, and they will line up down the page. Okay. So here's main point number 1. You see there's a Roman numeral number 1. Main point number 2, there's a Roman numeral number 2. Don't write the word main point. Subpoints are identified by capital letters. So you see our subpoints here, A, B, C, D. A, B, C. Okay, capital letters identify subpoints. And that, remember what I told you, in supporting material, they need to support the idea that is right above it. Subpoints are identified by numbers. You see them here. 1, 2. Notice how I'm using the same pattern of wording when I can. Okay. So main points, Roman numerals, subpoints, capital letters, subpoints, number. What do you think subpoints do? I mean, use. Small letters. Okay. And then if you have a sub point, now you start with the small Roman numerals. Okay. You shouldn't have to get much further than that. Now, Are you always going to have all of these? Well, yeah, you definitely have to have main points. You definitely have to have sub points. Okay. But your sub point, I want to see them, but you may not have it in a particular type of speech, especially when it's a short speech. Okay. And you might have it in main point number 1, but not in main point number 2. It depends on what you're trying to tell us and what you feel you need to emphasize or explain further. So understand and know the difference between a sub point and a sub point. The sub point is further clarifying the sub point. The sub point is further clarifying the sub point, which is further clarifying the sub point, which is further clarifying the main point. Okay, and each time as you move, you indent to show the difference. Any questions about this so far? Remember, all points at the same level should immediately support the point that is just above and one notch to the left in your outline. Of course, the main points and the subpoints need to be in full, complete sentences. Main points, like central ideas, cannot be expressed as a question. Say that again. Main points, just like central ideas, should not be expressed as a question. They need to be single, declarative sentences, complete sentences. All right. You can only have one idea in a main point. So don't try to put two ideas into one main point. Okay. Next, you're going to label your transitions, internal summaries, internal previews, and signposts, which are all collectively called what? What do we say these are called? Anybody?
Connective.
Yes, you got it, Andrew. Connectives. Okay. Then you're going to, of course, attach your bibliography to your outline. All right. An alphabetical listing of all the works you consulted, whether or not you use them in the speech. All right. Now, your speaking outline, that's another outline that you're going to have to create. The speaking outline is a brief outline used to jog the speaker's memory during the presentation of the speech. So this is what you're going to use to speak from. Now, I know a lot of students like to write out their speech and they hold it up and they start delivering it, and this is what happens, and we can't see your face, your words get muffled, okay? It's hard to look at it in that format, which is why I suggest that you get note cards. And not only do you get note cards, but you get them in a binder form so that if for some reason they get out of order, like maybe you drop them on the way up to the podium to speak, now they're all out of order, right? But if you leave them, if you get them already bound. If you drop it, your notes are still in order. Now, when you upload this document to me, yeah, can you write it in a PDF form? Yes, you can, to submit it, of course. All right. But it's important that you understand that this is what helps the speaker to remember what you want to say during the speech. So it's really going to make the most sense to you and to you alone. But it's going to, you, instead of having full sentences there, you're going to have keywords or key phrases. So you might want to write out your whole main point, but if you know what the main point is, you may be comfortable just typing the capital letter, the Roman numeral 1 for your main point, okay, and writing down keywords that will help you to recite that sentence. Because when you write stuff out that way, you're generally going to try to read it, unfortunately. And we don't want you to read us your speech. We want you to deliver a speech that is carefully developed and rehearsed. Rehearsed. That means you have to practice it, not one time, not 2 times, many times. In class 1, we talked about anxiety, right? And how do we control it? Well, one way you control it is having knowledge of your subject matter. Having knowledge of your subject matter relieves that anxiety that you may feel just before speaking. Because when you know what you're talking about, you can really talk about it. But if you're not clear or unfamiliar and you haven't practiced, you're going to struggle. And we're all going to see it. And what's going to happen to your credibility? Plummet. You also want to put in your speaking outline essential statistics and quotations that you do not want to risk forgetting. Okay. You're going to use cues to direct and sharpen your delivery. Those cues probably will be like outside in the margins. Okay. Show film here. Distribute chart here. Okay. Tell funny joke now. Okay. That even could be a part of your main point or some of your subpoints as well. Okay. But these are the things that you're doing in your speaking outline. So make certain that it follows the same visual framework as your preparation outline. So it's going to have the main points preceded by a Roman numeral, the subpoint preceded by a capital letter, okay, and so forth. You want to use the same symbols and pattern of identification that you did in that preparation outline. It's easier when you do it that way, and it helps you to identify where you are in the speech at any given time. You want to make sure that outline, that speaking outline, is legible as well. Okay, make sure you can read what you wrote. You want to keep the outline as brief as possible. You don't want to fill it up with a whole lot of full sentences and paragraphs. That's your preparation outline that you're going to give to me to grade. You're going to give yourself cues for delivering the speech as well. Okay, how you want to say something. All right, and check your syllabus and in Blackboard weekly activities and readings to see when these outlines are due. Your preparation outline, by the way, I believe is due on the 18th, Friday. So you got some work to do. All right, let's talk a little bit about introductions and conclusions. Okay, so the introduction is what we were supposed to do today. Okay, again, you're going to get graded on that. So hopefully if I finish here and somebody wants to try to do their introduction, I would suggest that you do. Because it's an easy 100 points. Even if you mess up, you're going to get something. It's better than nothing. And remember, a lot of this stuff is impromptu. When we come to class, we're going to do impromptu speeches. It's not filled with me giving you lectures. This probably is going to be the most lecture you're going to get. It's filled with you delivering impromptu speeches and me giving you feedback on it and your classmates giving you feedback on it and you getting the opportunity to practice in front of a group. All right. So the introduction, we know the main purpose is to get the audience's attention and arouse the interest of your audience. But there's also other things that we do in the introduction. Now, when you're gaining that attention and arousing the interest of your audience, you want to relate the topic to the audience, right? You want to state the importance of your topic. You want to startle the audience. You want to arouse the audience's curiosity. You do this with questions, quotations, telling a story. I have in Blackboard, and I believe it's week 3. It could even be week 4. I'm not sure which week. But I do have a folder with this document in it, attention-getting devices. Okay, these are some of the things that you use to gain the audience's attention. And you're going to find that this also can be helpful in some of those closing statements as well, those closing remarks. All right, you get our attention. You reveal the topic next, right? Make certain that you state clearly the topic of your speech and make sure that the topic relates to the audience. And you will see here in this document that I keep referring to, it tells you, okay? Reveal the topic. Be sure to tie in your attention getter to your topic. Don't assume the audience will automatically draw the connection. You have to make it for them. During your introduction, be sure to show your audience how your topic relates to them and or why they should be interested in listening to this topic. All right. You are going to then, of course, reveal that central idea again and establish credibility and goodwill with your audience. What is credibility? Credibility is being qualified to speak on a particular topic. You'll be more interested if you think the speaker knows what they're talking about. If you don't think they know what they're talking about, you're really not going to be that interested in it. Because time is valuable, right? Okay. Credibility need not be based on firsthand knowledge and experience. Credibility can also come from reading, classes, interviews, friends. Okay. And this first speech, when you start delivering that credibility, a lot of it's going to be just basic anecdotal information. Okay? Because you know this person pretty well, that you are impressed by them. All right, so make certain that you reveal your credibility. Goodwill. What is goodwill? The audience's perception of whether the speaker has the best interests of the audience in hand. Are you just saying this stuff to me because it's going to help you? And a lot of times in persuasive speaking, the audience is always leery, looking to see, is this person genuine? Do they really care about me? Is the information they're giving me for my benefit? Okay. Goodwill. All right. You don't have to do it so much in class, but we practice it in class. All right. And then finally, you're going to preview the body of the speech. That's where those three main points come in, that you're going to just express them outwardly. Okay. So you know how we write that central idea as written, then we write the central idea as spoken. Well, that central idea as written, that usually has those three main points, that's the preview of the message. And that's the last thing you do, okay? Aside from, you may have a connective, transitioning from your introduction into the body. Okay. And we'll see in the speech here the transition that's used. Okay. These characteristics are the perfect combination for a lasting impression. So let's take a look at why Ms. Vicencio was the best teacher I had while I was in high school. Okay. So you see how we talked about Ms. Vicencio all up in here? Okay. Then we got to the meat of the message. The meat of the message, the body. Okay, let me give you a few general rules about the introduction. Of course, they're shorter than the information you're given in the body, right? So how you figure this out, if your speech is 5 minutes, right? You might spend 1 minute on each main point if you have 3. Now you got 2 minutes left, right? You might try to stretch that time out a little bit more, because your introduction shouldn't be the same length as the body. Okay. So if you spent 3 minutes on the body, you got 2 minutes left, right? You spend a minute on the introduction and a minute on the conclusion. Okay. So usually it's about 10% of the total speech that you're spending on the introduction and the conclusion. Okay. That's why you're going to see how I take points off. You're going to see me take points off if your speech. Now, the first speech you did, if you did the speech, you got 100 points. No matter how terrible it was, you got 100 points. Right? But in the rest of yours, but I did tell you if you went over the time or you went under the time. I did tell you. And it's important that you time yourself. That's why you have to practice. So you might practice in front of the mirror. You might tape yourself. You might get a friend or family member to listen to you. But you need to practice. You need to know how long is your speech. All right. Some common errors that people do in introductions is they ramble and they're meandering, meaning they're not getting to the point. They're just talking and talking and talking, saying nothing. Right? Some people speak to become comfortable. They're just talking so they can get comfortable. You don't want to do that. You want to already know what you're talking about. Saying the specific purpose statement, especially as the first words. Okay. Many of you say, hi, I'm Rhonda, and I'm going to talk to you today about the meaning of colors and crowns in a crown box. Okay. Did I gain your attention? Did me telling you, hi, my name is Rhonda, gain your attention? No. We told you the things you must use. So when you come up to speak, okay, you are going to say your name so that your audience knows who they're talking to. Hopefully your name's on your Zoom screen, but everybody doesn't have it that way. So I do want you to say your name in the beginning, but the next thing that comes out of your mouth is an attention getter, not your specific purpose. Okay.
Excuse me?
Yes.
I don't mean to interrupt. Is there still time if I wanted to present my introduction?
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully we're going to get to that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Hopefully all of you will do something, say something. You know something what you're going to talk about. Okay. All right. Choosing a technique that hurts your credibility. Okay, like trying to define the word love or something like that. Okay? Or a method that's not audience centered. Beginning to talk as you approach the platform or lectern. You're not going to hardly have that problem in this class because we're all remote. But if you're going to speak to someone, don't start talking your backs to the people and you're walking up to the podium. Everybody can't hear what you're saying. Okay, you don't want to do that. Wait till you reach the podium and then start talking. Reading your introduction from your notes. Instead, it is vital to establish eye contact in the introduction. So knowing it very well is very important. It's not a lot. Remember, your introduction is not a lot. So when you write that speaking outline, write down key words and phrases that will help you to remember. Please don't try to write out the whole thing and read it to us. I would say 95% of the time you're going to fall into the trap and you're going to just start reading. And that's not going to give you a good grade on delivery. Inappropriate or irrelevant humor or references. You don't want to do that as well. And talking too fast. Instead, let the audience get used to your voice by speaking clearly. And being sincere and genuine in what you're trying to say. Don't speak at us. Okay? Don't speak at us. And of course, in that conclusion, okay, you're going to have those 3 parts: summary statement, which is just a restatement of that central idea. Summary statement is the restatement of your central idea. You're going to give us that meaning of the message. Why'd you tell us all of this? Why are you talking to us, telling us all this information? What do you want us to know? What's the moral of the quote story? What's the moral of the message? Why did you tell us all of this? What should we get out of this? Why did you tell us this? And then finally, the impact statement for a strong closing remark. And this is the thing that I tell students all the time: you need more development. A lot of people just want to say, that's it, I'm done, thank you. That is not an appropriate closing. Again, you want to go back to those attention-getting devices and some way bring it back home to that introduction. And you will see in the informative speech preparation outline that I gave you as an example, you can move forward to that preparation outline and look at the closing remarks. It's even, I did it in here too. In closing, I can't express how extremely proud I am of Ms. Recentio's positive characteristics that make her a great teacher. Now, a lot of people would just end it there. But a better closing argument per se, or closing words per se, would be to make sure that these words, the last words you say, are lasting and memorable to that audience. Okay, it's something they're going to remember long after the speech is over. So I'd like to leave you with this anonymous quote to consider. A good education can change anyone. A good teacher can change everything. Okay? It leaves the listener with thoughts of everything you've just said, all wrapped up in a nice package. Okay. Any questions about introduction and conclusion? I'll try to put some tips in there again for you for the introduction and conclusion, so you can review it and hopefully use some of those for your speeches. No questions? Okay, we've got 20 minutes. I think we can do it. I don't think those introductions are going to be much longer than a minute, right? All righty. Now, don't get all bent out of shape, worried. We're all in the same boat right now, right? It's the about everybody, with the exception of Siani and Andrew, who both also said, well, we're not totally prepared, okay? But it's okay. Do your best. Try it out. Just try it out. You might like it. All right. Who wants to go first?
I can start.
Okay, Ruby.
Okay, so my name is Ruby. Is there someone in your life who impresses you and whom you admire? Well, I sure do. His name is Jared, and he's my boyfriend. Jared has many admirable qualities, including overcoming many things growing up, always being there for everyone in his life, and pursuing his dreams. He teaches me to follow my heart and do what I love.
Okay. All right. Who's next? I'm going to give you some comments on this later, as well your classmates, okay, can look at it, and if you want to give some comments, you can. Everybody knows how to email the people in the class, right? I showed you that the first day. You just go to the email on the side. Let me show you again. Let me just show you again real quick. Over here in the menu bar, send email. Everybody see that? Yes? No? Okay. All right. Thank you, Ruby. Getting back up. Okay. All right. Who's next?
I can go.
Okay, Siani.
Okay, so my name is Siani James, and this is my intention getter. So I said, imagine waking up every day feeling like you're drowning, but no one else can see the water. This is the reality for millions of people living with mental health challenges. Now, ask yourself, how often do we stop and think about the invisible battles of people and what they are facing every day? My topic is going to be about mental health, and I'm going to describe what mental health is, describe how mental health can affect someone, and explain what mental health has taught me from my experiences and how I can work through it. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. So when you get ready to start right off, okay, Jason, I don't know if I can hear you because you still have your mute sign on. Okay.
No, I was talking earlier.
Okay, now we can hear you. Don't start off saying, well, this is what I'm going to use for my attention getter. Okay. Just give it to us. All right. Next.
Can I go?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Jason Santana, and today I will be doing a impressive person speech. At first, it was very hard to pick which person to speak about. Of course, you have your mom, dad, and other people who care for you and inspire you. But I wanted to be different and talk about my middle school track coach. I wanted to talk about my middle school track coach, Mr. Williams, because he was a person who affected and inspired my life in very different aspects than just more than the sport of track and field.
Okay. Now, so far, the first three speeches, I've really only heard the preview of the message from Siani. Okay, so remember, when you are delivering that speech, in the introduction, I want you to be certain. Start off with the attention getter. You guys are doing that pretty good. Okay. Then state the central idea. Then reveal your topic and relate it to the audience. Then state your central idea. Then credibility. Then that preview. Okay, that's telling us about those 3 main points. You also probably should start with some type of connective that moves you from the introduction to the body. Remember, connectors are used to move you from parts of the speech as well as ideas. Okay, so you might have it between main point number 1 and number 2. You might have it between the parts, which would be introduction to body, body to conclusion. All right, next up. Come on, let's get those points. You all have, in some way, probably, let's see, I had a lot of working outlines. Just about everybody submitted a working outline. So you should be able to come up with something quickly. Okay. Tell me how to say your name again. Tell us. Yusha, right?
There we go. Yes, Rabbi, you can call me Yusi.
Yusi. Okay.
Okay, hold
Come
on,
on,
because
right
I'm gonna go into the hallway because it's really loud in here.
Yes.
I did mine as like actual bullets, but so mine isn't that long. But I'll read it anyways. Okay. We are all inspired by someone or something. Some of us superheroes, some of us politicians. Mine is my grandmother. Since a young age, I've always been in awe of her. I've been hyper aware of human emotions. I'm sorry. I've always been hyper aware of human emotions, and she always stood out amongst the crowd. Some ways in which she stood out were her positive attitude, her resilience, and her empathy. That's all.
Okay. I like the attention getter. It's good.
Thank
All
you.
right. So just remember, preview that message.
Say it again.
Preview the message. Preview your message. So those that central idea written out where you have those 3 main points, you want to say that. Okay.
Okay. So, wait, let me go back. I was going to talk about her. Would that be me talking about her resilience? Her.
Yes. Those 3 main points. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Remember, repetition is key. Repetition is key. Because a lot of times we don't get it the first time. There's no do-over in the speech, right? It's not like somebody's reading a paper. That's why a lot of students, they want to write their speech like they're writing a paper. Well, you can go back and reread a paper. You can't go back when somebody's speaking. Okay, good. Thank you. Who's next?
Can I go next?
Yes, Catherine.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead. So the person that impressed me the most is this auntie who actually is a food delivery driver, and her name is Sylvia. And so I often call her Auntie Sylvia. And here are the 2 fun facts about her. So the first is that she actually works in the same restaurant as I am at. And fact number two is she drove me to work like every week. Because yeah, I don't have a driver license yet, so and I don't have anyone else to drive me, so she technically drive me like every single week to work and sometimes from work. And she really impressed me, like based on all of the times that I interact with her at work and also the time that she drove me to work. She really impressed me, and due to her many years of the driving experience and facing the delivery challenges at work, and also the fact that she delivered food efficiently.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Okay. So I got the first part. Um, when you did reveal the topic, but you didn't give us an attention getter. So don't forget that. That's very key. Start off with that part. And you could even, those two fun facts, okay, that could have been an attention getter. Of course, obviously not saying their name, right? So you said the fun facts about her were what again?
So number one, she works at the same restaurant as I work at. And number two, she drove me to work almost every week.
Okay, so you might start off with um how many people here like the people they work with? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. You know what I mean? Because really the fun facts that you started talking about, it really didn't fit anywhere where you were supposed to give your attention getter. That's really where I felt it fit. But you didn't say it, right? You revealed the topic. You said partially your central idea. Okay. The goodwill and credibility was that, you know this person personally. She drove you to work all the time. You knew her. All right. And then you did preview what you're getting ready to talk about. How she's a great driver, she's been doing it a long time, and so forth. Okay. So remember that introduction has to have those 5 pieces there. And always, always, always start off with the attention getting device or material. Then you reveal the topic. Everybody wants to immediately reveal the topic, but you have to gain our attention first. Okay, good, Catherine. Who's next?
I can go next.
Okay.
So, we all have someone in our lives who leaves a lasting impact, someone whose lessons stick with us long after we've heard them. For me, that's my grandfather. He showed me through his action and his word that kindness, patience, and family are the keys of fulfilling life. He is someone that I definitely look up to and try to be more like every day.
Okay. All right. That was good. You had a lot of part. You did have that attention getter. That was good. But remember, preview that message at the end. Okay. And of course, that connective, it's really not a part of either the introduction or the body. It's set aside on its own. Connectives, I don't think I told you this, but connectives, when you see them in the speech, written outline, preparation outline, they're centered. Okay. And they're italicized. Okay. So that's how they should look. Italicized, centered, within parentheses. That shows that it is a connective of sorts, of some kind, rather. Okay, May. Thank you. All right. Who's next?
I can go.
Okay, Kiara.
All right. Well, hi, my name is Kiara, and everyone who inspire us there's always an event that happens that has a long-lasting impact and becomes the reason of like why they inspire us. And for me, it was when I slipped on black ice and got stuck on the highway for a good couple of hours. And my dad is the one who I'm the first person I'm going to call, the first person that is going to calm me down, the first person that I know is going to get me out of my situations. And he inspired me to be a very resilient, a very strong, a very calm and positive attitude no matter any situation that I am in. And he is the person who is my main topic in the speech today. That's everything. I can't hear you, Miss.
I'm sorry about that. Okay, so you were good on the roll when you started saying at the end, my resilience, this, that, what your dad. Those were the three main points that you're getting ready to talk about, right? But don't mess it up by then saying, so yeah, this is the person I'm going to talk about. Okay?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to end it, and I was still, but I wanted to get my chance out there
Yes,
before
you did. You previewed that message. So that's fine. How you get out of it is with that transition. So now let's take a look at this person. So let's take a look at how my dad has, and then you use the first main point, made me so resilient. Your first sentence in the body now is going to be, my dad made me a resilient person because, even though you just said that, right? But this is how the redundancy works. So to get out of that, you transition or use some type of connective to say, now let's see how my dad inspires me by his resilience. And then the very first sentence, the very first main point, my dad inspires me with his resilience. And then your sub point is going to talk about how he does that. And then the sub point is going to either further clarify that for you. You may or may not have sub in this type of speech. Okay, good job. All right, who's next? Jaden, Alvin, Karen.
I'll go next. Can you hear me?
Yes, barely though.
Hi, I'm Jaden Holmes, and this is my impressive speech outline. In life, we find people that inspire us. For me, that is my ROTC instructor, Technical Sergeant Delos Reyes. The reasons why he inspired me is because of his motivation and ability to challenge me and and his drive to make cadets the best version of themselves. That's really all I have.
Okay. Okay. So that kind of like was the preview and the central idea together, right? So you got to work on that, establishing the credibility, which I think you kind of did some of that in when you were what you wrote down and submitted. So to establish the credibility, you talk about how you know why are you credible to talk about this. And he was my coach for so many years. I sat in the class with him. I, had many other teachers or coaches, but none as great as him. All right. And revealing the topic. Another thing that you did that I keep telling everybody not to do was you gave us your specific purpose first. You revealed the topic first. Then you gave the attention getter. Okay, so remember the attention getter comes first. So after you say your name, say your attention getter. Okay. All right, good try. Who's next? Karen, I see you taking a big breath. Good.
Yes.
But we're all here rooting for you, so let's go.
Okay, so I will be honest, I am kind of in a back room at my children's book fair, so I don't have all of it prepared properly. But just going off of my head, I can give you, my name is Karen Hilton, and my grandmother's ways of her influence and showing me unconditional love has led to her being my impressive person. My grandmother's legacy will live on through myself, and I will, I'm sorry, I got lost in that. So then my specific purpose would be to,
You want to tell us why your grandma's such a great person, right?
yes, she was a very determined person and she never gave up, despite the challenge she was faced with. She was very compassionate and understanding, and she made everlasting impressions in my life that I get to pass on to my children and my other family members and just people around me.
Okay,
She,
that's good. That's good. Because remember, it's just the introduction.
okay,
So that other stuff you get ready to tell, that's the body.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
So, but remember, start it off with that attention getter.
okay,
Okay. So you might find a great quote about grandmas. You know how special they are. Okay. And relating it back, everybody has a grandma or someone that acts in that capacity in their life. Okay.
Thank you.
So that's how you would do that. All right. I think that's everyone except for Alvin. Alvin. Wake up. All right. You want to do your introduction? You're the last one. Unmute yourself, Alvin. Unmute yourself. Okay, you gave me a working outline, so unmute yourself. Okay. Ooh, what happened? No, you're not going to do it? We can't hear you. You're muted. Okay. You sure, Alvin? You don't want to get these points? Okay. All right, class. So remember, next week, your posted speech is due for most impressive person. Go into the comments that I made about your working outline. Make sure you look at the comments so that you can tweak it now in consideration of the comments that I gave you. That's very important. Don't forget, look into your camera. Okay. You'll often see me looking away from the camera because I need to look at your faces and try to get some feedback when I'm talking to you. All right. But for the most part, when you are delivering that speech, you want to look directly right into that camera. Of course, you know, you're looking down at your nose at times, but you need to try to give eye contact don't look away from us the entire time. And don't, if you put all your information on a piece of paper, all right, sit up there and read it like this. Practice some. Practice, practice, practice. Look at the video that you made before you upload it. If it's not really what you want, do it again. Okay, the speech is not that long. Any questions?
Yes, so we have to do our speech next class.
Yes, but it's posted. You're not going to do it in class.
Oh, okay.
Post.
Oh, it's a video. Okay, gotcha.
Posted. Okay. The next, after this speech, the next speech is the informative speech. That's also a posted speech. However, you're going to have the audience with that speech as well. Remember, I told you first day, hope you're working on getting that audience, because that's not going to be an excuse for why you don't have an audience. Because I told you on day one about that audience. Right? And if you want to look ahead, feel free, look ahead about information on informative speech, the requirement. Okay, any other questions at all?
Yeah, where can we find the comments that you were saying to look at?
I'm going to send them to you.
Okay.
You're talking about on the speech? Yeah, I'm going to prepare this class, okay, and then upload it into week 3, so you can go back and look at it.
Okay.
All right, and you can look at your classmates. You don't have to comment. You can if you want. You don't have to. But you know, it's a good idea to look at the speeches, so you could see what my comment was, so you don't do the same thing. Okay. Any other questions at all? All right, there being none, have a wonderful week. Don't forget those preparation outlines due on Friday. Have a great week, everybody. Be safe.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. You too.